Hello and good afternoon, everyone. About around 20 minutes ago, I just complete the milestone 4. And in this milestone 4, right, I have implemented several physiological for the AI, which is the hunger system and also the needs to eat something. Because originally, when I developed the game, it technically doesn't have any kind of trigger mechanism that saying that I'm currently hungry and I do need to eat. You have to manually annotate the bush and also the woods. But then again, when it tried to execute the job board, right, I have a job board internally in the applications. When it tried to execute it, it will keep chopping the tree until it die. So we don't want that. We want some kind of coping, sorry, not coping mechanism, more likely on interrupting mechanism where it telling the AI itself saying that I do need to eat before I can continue to do the work. So in this milestone, I just complete 3 tickets actually. One is the physiological needs, which I mentioning earlier, the hunger system, and then the alert bubble. The alert bubble technically telling the player that currently there are something happening for the AI. And then I have the triage interrupt breaking the FIFO queue, meaning if let's say you pause the game and then you click the whole forest to be chopping down, and then you also annotate which bush you should gathering from. What it does is that it will continue to chop the tree until it hungry. When it hungry, it will stop doing the current work, which is the chopping the tree, and start finding the bush that you have annotated earlier. And by doing so, it will go to fetch whatever they need, and then only then it will continue to chop the tree. And then I add just an information detail over here. When you click to the worker itself, it will show the HP, the stamina, and the hungry system, so that you can know what exactly happening for the AI itself. It is not perfect. There's a lot of things that can be improved, but I think my style of approaching things is doing it one by one. Not gonna settle down everything in one go. The more bigger the system becomes, it's much more easier for me to refactor and then enhance it later on. So to show the demonstration, right, I'm going to open the terminal. I'm gonna do the window. So the game start. I'm going to pause a bit. Sorry, pause a bit. Okay, when you scroll down a bit and you click the player, it will show the panel and their name, their health point, hunger, and also stamina. While technically we can use another term like full or something else, I think I will stick with this labeling for now, which is hunger. Hunger here is going to keep subtracting around 2 millisecond, 2 seconds, something like that. So when it reduced up to 15%, for example, it become starving. When it becomes starving, it will keep looking into the board. Where are the annotated forage? So how do I going to do this? I'm going to chop whole tree. All right, when you're chopping the tree, right, it will enter the queue system in terms of first in. and then technically if you're not hungry, it will continue doing the first out. But let's say if they're starting to hungry, they will go over to the bush before it continue to chop the remaining tree, and then we require some kind of campfire for them to deliver the woods later on, and we continue. See, when they are hungry, right, there will be a bubble on the top of the AI itself, saying that something is happening in themselves. I'm gonna wait for a while, and then yeah, and this one, it's until it's not reaching the 15%, right, it's still hungry, it's not yet starving, and then the stamina already reduced. You see, when it already eat something, it will continue to execute the chopping tree working. So I'm going to put some here, fire camp here, so it can pick up the woods, and then we're gonna annotate before they getting hungry again. Yeah, it's already around 50% reduced. The reason why it go to foraging the bush, right, because there's no other job currently working around, so it will straight away go to do whatever we have assigned them to. And then I think that's all the improvement that I did. Technically, there's a lot of things that can be improved. For example, right now, the stamina bar, right? The stamina bar, I put it under the worker struct. Maybe I will need to consider to move it under human, like the hunger struct, because the hunger struct, right? Technically, it is related to the human itself. It's not related to the working the job scope. And that's all from my side. We'll continue again in the next milestone, which is the milestone 5. In the milestone 5, technically what I'm going to do is tweak gathering, because I'm not really sure on how the other people doing it, but when I was a kid back then, I technically need to clean up my house. There's a lot of tree and grasses and dry leaf and something like that. So when I want to start up the fire, I need to gather the twig and also the dry leaf, so it's much more easier for me to start the fire. Let's say if I go straight away taking much more bigger branch, for example, it's not gonna start the fire that easily. And also technically, the bigger the branch is, or the bigger the wood is, it still has a lot of water in it, so it's kind of very wet to burn it down. So I'm going to tweak the game a bit to mimic my way of life in the earlier life before. And that's it. See you again next time. Bye bye.